Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. In the previous episode, I think it was, I did say something about the floor being wet and having condensation, but I thought I'd have an investigate today, and it turns out I've got a leaky boiler. As you can see, there's water in here, so I've gone under there. I took the insulation off around that the best I can. It had all been taken off before. I didn't break it, it was already broken and taped together. I can get to the hot water pipe, which is back there. Obviously the cold water feed must go underneath there, so I'm going to have to take all of this off and see if I can see where it's leaking. It's going to be one of those joins, I expect, but that's obviously running down there, coming out under the floor, and yeah, and it's wrecking the floor. Lovely. I don't know how long that's been doing it for, but it's sopping wet, all sopping wet under here as well. See, Harley, it's not just you, it's not just you. Yeah, so that's a nice thing to wake up to, but I'm glad that we've sussed it out. I thought it was condensation. The floor gets really, really cold, and we've got rubber mats on it, and it's picking up the mats, and it's a bit wet underneath. The dog bed was a little bit wet, but I reckon this has been slowly leaking for a while, and that's our problem, I think. Anyway, got that panel off there, so I need to get in behind there. And there's another pipe down there. You can't see it. I'll just stick my hand in there and see if it's wet under there, which it is. It's the cold feed. It's sopping. All right. So that's not going to be very easy to get to, but it's wet around that cold feed. Would be the cold, wouldn't it? At the bottom. I'll see if I can do something with that. Might have to drain this whole thing down. Oh man, what a nightmare. I was going to have a shower. In a minute. Maybe I'll just have a shower first, then drain it down. It's leaking anyway. Won't take me long to have a shower. It takes me like 5 minutes because I'm super efficient. Okay, there's a leak there. No, yeah, there's a bit of, oh, so you can see there's a bit of water there. So it might actually be on that top one, but the bottom one, try and get you in there. It'll spin you around. Here, got like a Jubilee clip on it. Sorry about the light, but that's just spinning round on there. That's not very tight. This one doesn't move, so I could just literally try tightening that up. See what's going on here. I mean, all this is, it's all moulded, so there's a little plastic, obviously a little plastic fitting in there, which will be a bayonet end. There is water there, very slight. Yeah, so I think they're both leaking. So I'm going to see if I can just tighten up those that bottom Jubilee clip and tighten up the top one. Maybe I don't want to have to drain it. But if it's just that Jubilee clip's loose and I can just tighten it up and it'll stop weeping, then great. It's not a huge leak, it's not like it's pouring out there, but it's just, obviously, over time it's built up and built up. Oh my gosh. Right, so I've tightened up those Jubilee clips. The bottom one was really, really loose. Doesn't look like it had been tightened up. Whoever was mucking around with it. It's tricky to get to, but I got to it with my socket set. Tightened up really tight. Tightened the top one up a little bit more just for good measure. I've mopped all the water up and given a hoover out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the boiler. I'm going to put the boiler on and run some water through it and see if it leaks. That's all we can do, really. There's only really those two places it can leak. So from what I can see. Here we go. Right, so the water's heating up. So we'll leave that for a little bit, and then I'll run some hot water and some cold water and see what happens, I suppose. I am going to be getting rid of this at some point. I want to get a diesel heater set up, the heat exchange coming off the diesel heater, and put a larger tank in there. This is 9 litres. It's the old, was it the Carver Cascade, whatever it is, to this thing. Yeah, that old thing. It's very old. It's probably original. It does smell a bit gassy at times. Yeah, I'm going to put a 20 litre tank in. There's plenty of room for it under there, but ooh, that light's a bit weird, but you know, money, innit? Let's just run a bit of hot. Hasn't been on that long, so it won't be boiling hot, but I'm going to push that through, which will push water through the boiler, obviously, and make sure that's not leaking anymore. Come on. I'll tell you what, these aren't bad, these little boilers are. I mean, it's only been on for 5 minutes, and I am getting water already. Let's put some cold. Right. Now, back down here. There doesn't seem to be any water leaking out. It was running down here underneath and running down. Right, cool. Just felt all around the pipe. It's dry now, seems to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up some water. I've got 30 litres of water to put in because for me to have a shower. I'm going to leave all this open for the time being, and which would be good because get some air around it, give the floor a chance to dry out if it can. It must be soaking wet under there because it must have been doing that for a while. I didn't notice it because it was so slight. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fill it up, and then I'm going to, you know, have a shave and a shower and all that kind of thing, and then come back out here and see what it's doing. If it's dry, bingo mass, we've fixed it. It seems to be that would be what it was, because that Jubilee clip was just spinning around. No good. Now, if you do follow the channel, you know that I don't like this floor and I want to rip it up anyway. But water, I don't know if you can see this, it's actually there, look, coming up between the joints of the floor all the way down, right down to where Biscuit's bed is. So that's been leaking very, very gently since we've had the van, I reckon, over a year. I've never noticed it. I never go in there, that's the trouble. I never go under there because we don't use it for storage. So this whole subfloor is going to be soaking. So now's the decision. Do I rip it all up and inspect the subfloor? Because if that's rotting, then that could be a big problem later. Or do I leave it for now until the weather's better? And I don't know. Right, back to the boiler. I had a shower, and there's a little bit of water. It's definitely not coming from these pipes, definitely not coming from them. But what I have noticed is this seal. This was over the top of that loosely, and it's obviously got some silicone on there. And you can, I don't know if you can see this, but you can actually, hang on, when you wiggle the boiler up and down, you see that moving there? And when the pump was running, the hot water was running, it did a little teardrop of water came out of there. So I reckon that seal on there needs redoing. I can get to the top part of it, obviously. It looks like it's been done bodgily before, but getting under it, I can't do that. I'll have to take the whole thing out. So what I'll do is I'll put some sealant around that top bit, clean that off, and see if it stops it, because hopefully it's just coming from that top bit, but I should imagine it's not. I should imagine it's coming from all around it. Anyway, van life. Alright, where are we? 3 hours later. It doesn't look pretty, so don't judge me, but it's just kicking in. The igniter's just kicked in. Tracked it down to a leak in that corner there. So I've put some gook around it. It's really hard to get in there, so it does look a bit of a mess, but it seems to have stopped leaking. There is a second problem though, and that is the igniter, even though the flame is on, keeps kicking in. I don't know if you can hear that. Click, 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 click. Even though it's all working. I went outside and checked the flame. The flame's on and the igniter's still going, so I don't know if that's what, the heat sensor's gone or something. I want to get this thing out of here anyway, but I wasn't going to do it yet. I was going to wait until spring. So if that bodge holds, and that is a bodge, then happy days. But we'll just get through the winter. I mean, there was all water pouring out under here and it stopped. Now the igniter's stopped. That's what it keeps doing, that. I don't like that. So I'll just keep an eye on it. It's hot. It's hot now at the moment. So I'll let it heat up fully and then let it cool down fully and see if that join holds. It's all I had on board. What is it? It's a Soundall all-weather sealant, waterproof, underwater, and it's paintable. So you know, you can use it on stuff that's leaking to stop leaks. I don't know how it will hold up with the heat, but if it does hold up for the time being, then I can get off and get some better stuff. It looked like they put on just normal bathroom sealing. It peeled off so easily. So obviously it's done this. This has been a bodged repair that's been done before. So I've just done another bodged repair. But if it holds for a bit, fine. It's been doing it for freaking ages, because I don't know if you can see, look, it's all coming up through the... Can you see that? When you stand on the floor, it's coming up, water's just coming up all through the floor. And it goes all the way back down to here, and all the way down to Biscuit's bed. It's soaked under there. So it must have been doing it for a long time, probably for the whole time we've had the van, which is just over a year. And we just haven't noticed it until now. Anyway, so I was going to rip this floor up as well. Not yet though. I was going to do it in the spring, in the summer, and put a new floor down. Might have to do it sooner because I don't know how it's going to dry out otherwise. I've checked all under the sink, nothing's leaking under there. I've checked all under the bathroom. Plumbing's all dry as a bone. It's just that. It's the only thing it is. But yeah, bummer. Anyway, I'll let you know how it goes.